Now, if I add a character and we get him to start moving around, okay, you see he can escape the screen, right? Um, this does not mean that there's an error. This is happening because there is a bigger world for him to explore, okay? And if you want to design that bigger world, we design something called a tile map. So if I go into scene and I get a block called set tile map to tile map, you can either go to scene and find this, or you can go into search and look for tile map, and then you'll find this block that says set tile map to tile map. Okay. Now you're on the editor of the level now. So this is where you can start designing the world. Now you see on the bottom left, there are a bunch of tiles that you can start placing. And there are other categories as well. So if you go into dungeon, you have a bunch of tiles. So, and there's a bunch of tools here as well. So like there's the pencil tool, there's an eraser tool, there's a bucket tool. These three are the main ones: the pencil, eraser, and the bucket. So let's delete this. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go into the dungeon category, right? And then I'm going to select this, and I'm going to use the bucket tool to fill up everything. And then I can click on these arrows to go to the next page. And let me select the wall tool. And then when I click on the pencil, I can start drawing walls. Okay. So there you have it. So you have a tile map designed. Now there's a problem. We can only see the top left of a tile map, and we can't see anything else. And the camera does not follow our player. So if I go to scene, right, and there's something called camera follow sprite, my sprite. Okay. And now I can start seeing the rest of the world as well. But you'll notice another problem, that I can walk through these walls, right? So your computer does not really know the difference between these walls and these purple floor tiles, right? So we have to tell the computer that these are walls and not the floor. So if I click on this little 3D shape here, right, and I start drawing over these walls, now that tells the computer that these are walls. But suppose I make a little mistake, right? Suppose I put a wall where it's not supposed to be. With the wall tool selected, I click on the eraser tool and I can remove the walls. Okay. Remember, if you don't have it selected, then suppose you have walls where you're not supposed to put them, and you unselect the wall tool and then use the eraser tool, it does not delete the walls, it just deletes the floor behind it. So let's fix that quickly. Fill that in, and then I'll select the wall tool and then hit the eraser and remove from there. Another thing, another little shortcut, right? If I go into dungeon and I have the wall here, I can select the wall tool and then the bucket tool, and that's a handy shortcut for making walls. Now we have the tile maps sorted out. So what I want you to do is just pause the video here and finish these four blocks, okay? So first you'll create your player, then you'll move him with buttons, then you'll create your tile map with walls and everything, and then you'll get the camera to follow my sprite. So pause the video now and do all that stuff. Okay, now the next thing is, if you want to place something on the tile map, okay? Now, if you see where I'm circling my mouse around, right? That's where the column and row of the tile will be displayed. If you don't know what a column is any vertical group of tiles like this. So this is a column of tiles. and a row is a horizontal group of tiles like that. Okay. So if I take my mouse over here and you see those numbers on the bottom left, it says 10, 9 right now. So that means column number 10 and row number 9. If I go to the top, it says 0, 0 because you don't start counting at 1, you start counting at 0. So let's bring the rows down, okay? So that's row number 0, row number 1, row number 2, and then it'll keep increasing. Okay, so let's do that again. Sorry. If I 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So it goes from 0 to 15, and it'll do the same thing for the columns as well. So if now you'll see the first number change. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So it goes from 0 to 15, okay? So let's say I want my character to spawn in at 1, 1, okay? So I'll go to search and look for the block called place. So right now it says place my sprite on top of tile map call 0 row 0. I'll just make that 1 1. Now that's where he'll go. Let's see the difference. I'm just going to take that out for a second. That's why he spawns in the middle of the wall. Now if I put the block back in, he spawns in a better place. Okay. Alright, so you can pause the video here. First decide where you want to place your enemy. So take your mouse around on the tile map and you see the numbers change, and you'll find 2 2 or 12 7, whatever the numbers at the bottom left are. Okay, and then put them in the place block. If you search for place, you'll find this block. So pause the video here and do that step. Now suppose you want to put some things on your tile map randomly, right? So if I go to game and I get an on game update every 500 milliseconds. So you can do something every 500 milliseconds now. Okay, so let me make that 1 second. And I go into sprites and create a new food sprite. And let's place the pizzas. I'm just going to call this my pizza. And I'm going to set the kind to food. Okay. Then the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to place them, but I'm not going to use this. Okay. I'm going to use this. So it says place my sprite on top of random tile. So I'm just going to change this to the second one, because if you see in my tile map, I have one floor tile throughout. So my pizzas can appear anywhere on the floor. Let's see that now. So this needs to be my pizza. Remember, these two need to be the same name. Let's see now. There's a pizza there. There's a pizza there. See, they're spawning every 1 second. Maybe I'll make it 2 seconds, all right? If I want to collect these, I need to search for an overlap. So it says on sprite of kind player overlaps other sprite of kind food, right? Then what we'll do is we'll destroy other sprite. Okay, remember, you don't want to put my pizza here. You don't do that. You get other sprite from the first line and put it in here. And let's change core by 1. Okay, so now you'll have pizzas that you can collect. Yeah, there you go. So now if I collect that, that's score 1. There's another one. So we have a pizza collecting system now. Now, if you want to add an enemy, right? We need to go back to our on start for this. By the way, you can pause the video here and you can finish all of these steps before you move ahead. Okay, so now let's add an enemy. So if I go to sprites, let's call that my enemy. And okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to decide where to place my enemy. Our player spawns on 1-1, so let me put him somewhere else, like maybe 9-2. Okay. So if I look for place and make this 9-2. Okay. So now he's there. And what I want to do is I'm going to make him bounce around. Okay. So I don't want to use the follow block for this. What I'm going to do is I'm going to give him velocity, my enemy. So you'll see he'll start moving, but then he'll get stuck on the walls. So what you want to do is you want to make sure he bounces on the walls once he hits a wall. So I'm going to get my enemy bounce on wall. So yeah, you can pause the video here and get these 4 blocks. The enemy sprite, the place block, the velocity block, and bounce on wall block. So if you see the game now, he'll kind of just bounce around everywhere on his own. Okay. Now what we'll do is the last thing that we need to do for this game is we get another overlap and we say on sprite of kind enemy overlaps with the sprite of kind player. Then you go to game and get a game over lose. Okay. So if the enemy hits us, it's game over. And let's say you have to collect 20 pizzas. So if you go to info, get an on score 100, and you just change that to on score 20, then you get a game over win. So there's very little code in this, and that makes a complete game. Yeah. So you have to collect the food items while running away from this guy. Okay. So yeah, have fun making that, and I'll see you in the next one.